In this video, I'm going to describe how to use macros to make your work more efficient. So if you have repetitive type of formatting or repetitive types of assignments to do in Excel, using similar data or templates on a weekly or monthly basis, this macro tool will help you to expedite your work and make your work more efficient. What it basically does is record all your changes in Excel, and then you can save the macro and reapply them to a similar or identical worksheet later on. So following the directions from the first page, what I'm going to do is on the view page, I'm going to hit record macro. And I'm going to rename this Reel, save it to this workbook, maybe give it a description. And it's good to have descriptions because you may have a lot of macros and get confused as to what does what. So the first thing in the list of tasks to accomplish in this macro is to remove the filters. So I'm going to remove, on the data page, I'm going to remove filters. The next step is to delete the 4 rows. So I'm going to delete those 4 rows, 1 through 4. Then the next step is to resize the columns. So I'm going to resize the columns, and this is to make better. You can resize them any way you like, just as long as there's a noticeable change in the sizing of the columns. All right. And then I'm going to, the next step is to center the titles. So if I go home and I want to click on center, so now they're centered. Okay, and then the next step is to sort by 2 levels, level 1, column C, and level 2, column K. So first thing I'm going to do is use my quick keys to quickly highlight the area, and then I'm going to click on the home page, the data page, and sort. And this is a custom sort. So, and you see here that this is my list has headers. I'm going to turn it off for a second so I could put in column C, and then I'm going to add a level, then column K. If I always want to have, if I highlighted my column row, I want to click this box to list my headers, so that way the column row doesn't get sorted in the mix. And I'll just leave it as a standard A through Z and smallest to largest. So I'm going to hit OK, and that will resort. The next step is to create a new row between row 1 and 2. So I'm going to highlight 2, right click, and insert. Now, there are also, on the home page, there are also keys to insert a row up here too. There's insert, delete, format. Those are some quick keys. Sometimes I like to use the right click on a lot of things. Then it says create a sum for the total sales price in column T. Okay, so I'm going to go over here to column T, which is also the sales price, and I'm going to use the sum function, and I'm going to sum from row T3 to, we'll say, the second number will be we'll just say T700 should be enough to include all the data. And I'm going to close the parentheses on that and hit enter. Okay. And then it says to change the format from accounting. It's currently in accounting, change it to currency. And I should probably do that for the entire column. Change that to currency, take away the change. And then for cell T2, I'm going to use a double bottom. Here is the double bottom border, and this signifies that this is a total. Okay, so then it says to delete column R and J, delete column R and G. So you want to do column R first, otherwise it would shift the columns and G would be something different. Then you want to delete G. Okay, so we deleted those 2 columns. Change row 1 color to yellow. So we want to update this color here to yellow. And so at this point, we're going to save the macro. And whenever I save the macro, I want to be in cell. I want to save it in cell A1. So now I'm going to go to View, and I'm going to stop recording. So now the macro is saved, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save this file into an Excel macro-enabled workbook. So I'm going to click on Save As, and I'm going to save as changes to an Excel-enabled workbook, which is now going to be a different extension. And this is so the macro will be enabled on this. And I'm just going to put a V2 here so I know that this has the macro in it, and I'm going to save the file. Okay, so now that I have the file saved, I can go to the next sheet, put my cursor in cell A1, and I can go to View the macros, and I can click on the macro and apply the macro. So now the macro has been applied. So we see that the color has been changed, and that we see that we have the title for sales price in here, and we have it sorted by C and then K. So, and resized the cells, deleted the rows, so everything kind of worked really quickly. So as I go to each of the workbooks, you can see how when I apply the macro, run the macro, it will automatically run and make those changes that I set up. So you want to go to all 4 boroughs here, and you want to run this, and you always want to run it in, good habit when you make macros to always start and end the cells at A1. So that way it's always starting from the same point. And here we made the changes, and we could see that it did indeed delete those rows, added a column, changed the row, deleted some rows here, and deleted the columns and resorted. Okay, so that is my video on how to create macros and how this can be very efficient for saving. Now all you have to do is save this workbook and upload it into this week's assignments. Okay, thank you for your time, and I hope you found this new skill helpful and useful in your future.